Vibrations are the driving force of the universe. Whenever your energy really gets heightened, it sends out vibrations that attract the nature of them. If you're sending out positive vibrations, you're attracting good things to you. And I still like girls, So you give up on sex, you give up on life. Hey, I'm a rock star, man. I'm a rock star. I got a 32-year-old girlfriend. You ask her, man. I tell you what, she has to tap out. Hell yeah, hell yeah. If you're an old man, you ain't getting laid. There's something wrong, and get you a young woman. They're young and vivacious, and so them old women, they kind of don't want to do it anymore. But them younger ones, yeah, they still like it. So it's like sex is a big part of life. It is part of making. It's a need that we have. I think the main thing is going from one adventure to another. It's just finding things that really that excite me. That like I say, I love travel. As I'm spending most of the month of May in Australia, I might go to New Zealand while I'm down there. I'm going to Rome this year. I'm doing a school in Rome, So that'll be exciting. I've never been to Italy. I've been to southern France. I've been to Germany. I've been to Belgium. Did schools there. But that'll be an adventure to go to Rome, see what the Romans did, and check it out. So it's just another adventure that this year is going to hold. There hasn't been a world's champion in the last 10 years that hadn't been one of my students, so we've just dominated over there. In the PBR, we got several world's champions over there as well. Two of my kids, when they turned 18, both of them win the PBR finals, which is like the top of the heap, And so my students, there again, half of it is the mechanics I teach. But the most important part is the mental attitude, is what it takes to really to mentally embrace this game. Is you got some bulls that are super athletes out there, and the number one thing you're dealing with when you go to the rodeo is not the bull; it's other people's opinion of the bull. And that's pretty much life itself, when you got, so many people are telling you why you can't do it. You want to hang around the guy that tells you why you can do it, And there's only about 5% of them out there. The other 95% are in the negative range. They're going to tell you all the reasons why you can't ride a bull or why you can't do anything in life, They're going to discourage you. And a lot of times that even comes close to your family or people closest to you. They don't want you to get hurt. Or they don't want you to get your feelings hurt or your ego hurt. So they kind of discourage you from going into different ventures. They want to kind of keep you safe and,
You can't be scared of losing?
You can't be scared of losing. You got to, and every time you lose, you learn something. What did I do wrong? What am I going to fix?
It's not really loss.
Yeah, losing is a part of winning. It's you're working your way up. And there ain't nothing I've ever done I was good at when I first started it. But I said if it's worth doing, as I'll take the time to get good at it, and take my losses and take my ass kickings and get up and smile and go right back at them, But if you try something and you say, I tried that and I wasn't good at it, then you didn't try it long enough, If you love it and you want to do it, you're not going to be good at it first. It's trial and error. You got to stay with it. You got to hang around people that are good at it, Anthony Robbins, great motivator, says, if you want to be the best at anything, find the best and copy them, because, if they've already paved the way for you, if you just kind of follow what they're doing and do it like they do. Like I role modeled the great George Paul. He was the greatest bull rider I've ever seen. And when I watched him ride, he was so much bigger than life. I would, we didn't have videotape in those days, so I would log him in my mind, and when I'd visualize him riding, and I'd say, that's me, that's me. One of my students, a kid named Ross Coleman, big kid, 6'4", over 200 pounds, which is, most people say, too big for bull riding, too much weight up there above the bull. But I took one of the greatest riders of all time, the great Tuff Hedeman, who was in the movie 8 Seconds, and I said, I put pictures on his wall at the top of the kick and top of the jump, and I said, I want you to look at that every morning, every night when you go to bed, and say, that's me. Get excited about it. Vibrations are the driving force of the universe. Whenever your energy really gets heightened, it sends out vibrations that attract the nature of them. If you're sending out negative vibrations, you're attracting bad things to you. If you're sending out positive vibrations, you're attracting good things to you. So I said, really intensify your thoughts and get really excited and say, that's me. I can do that. I can do that. And then all night long while you're asleep, your subconscious is working on what it is, the order that you give it. You wake up in the morning and you look at those pictures again and you go, that's me. I can do that. I can do that. Get excited about it. And then all day long while you're working on other things, your subconscious is working on that, on that order for you. Ross, out of all the thousands and thousands of bull riders that have been in the PBR, he's 7th on the all-time list of most qualified rides, So he had a great career, runner-up for the World Championship one year. Another guy named Justin McBride roomed with him when they went to college, and they both looked at those pictures every day, and they said, that's me, that's me. They did drills every day. He became a 2-time world champion, got crippled the last bull riding of the year. He'd have been a 4-time world champion, So, as the old saying goes, you become what you think about, but put that subconscious to work, because the subconscious is separate from your conscious mind. And the subconscious mind works at the speed of light, and it processes 1 billion pieces of information per second. That's the side of the mind you got to be on in sports. There's no timing on the left brain. My dad was bigger than life. When he walked into a room, he brightened up that whole room. People were drawn to him. He had tons of personality. In fact, all my dad's family were like that. They were just, they were all larger than life. They were, I remember my uncle was a really, really successful cement contractor. And I asked him one day, I said, what's the secret to your success? He said, son, all you got to do is just make people like you. He said, if they like you, they'll work with you. He said, a lot of times I'm the highest bid. They still give me the job, because they say, we don't know what kind of work that other guy does, but we know RC's going to do us a good job. And they like him, and they like hanging out with him. He knew a million jokes. He was a bigger than life personality, and pretty much all of my family were that way. And my dad was that way. He was, whatever day he had off, he took it off to help me to ride bulls and learn to ride bulls. And, so people like that, and that's what you do with your kids, is you try to give them the opportunity. You don't give them things, but you give them the opportunity to learn things that's going to follow their dream. I think a lot of kids that are given too much, they lose that ability to, like I say, if you're not getting out of bed dreaming about becoming something, and you're getting it handed to you, you're taking that kid's dignity away from them. And I know this one really, really wealthy family, and the guy had 3 kids. One of them died on his birthday. The other one was in and out of prison, blew all his retirement. Only one of the 3 really becomes something. So it's and the one that did become something was really motivated. He was really wanted to become something and did become something. So money, giving money to your kids, you'd rather give them a work ethic and let them earn it themselves, and then you give them something that is lasting. Bye.